All I wanted for Christmas was a 69, and tonight I finally got my wish. Welcome to episode number 69 of the Town Social. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's been a while since we saw you last. Old St. Nick's been slipping down flues and emptying his sack, but enough about my activities last night as Huddersfield Town treat us to a usual roller coaster over the festive season. A brilliant 1-0 win versus Stockport at home, followed by a pretty tepid performance against Burton and then a droll draw against Rotherham. The Terriers were going in to face a Wycombe side who were very, very strong at home, hoping we could maybe go in and nick something. What proved to be a very tough game in the end resulted in a brilliant goal from Herbie Kane, setting up a 1-0 win for the Terriers. And, you know, while some of us were questioning our top two credentials prior to this game, leaves us only 4 points behind with a game in hand on some and has blown the promotion race wide open. My name's Nick Barlow. I'll be your host this evening. Joining me tonight is Tristan Matley-Cargasque and Ian Kilroy. Gentlemen, welcome. Welcome, everybody. If you're listening tonight, you're mental this late hour, just like us, but you're all very welcome. Get your comments and your questions in and we'll chat through things. But gents, fresh after the game, to me, I thought this was a really classic, gutsy away performance. Controlled majority of the game. Maybe rode our luck a little bit at times, but guys, let's just get a general feel of how you're feeling at this point. Because for me, going into this game, I was all for settling for those playoff places, not playing very well, particularly in the last two home games. And with all the injuries, I didn't see anything in this game, but I thought we controlled it reasonably well.
Well, we did, didn't we? I think before the game, I put in our group chat, I had a sneaky feeling that we might do something tonight. What are you doing, Killer? Are you typing your resignation or something again?
Getting excited, guys. I called it a defeat today, so it's just it's on me. I apologise.
It's not like you to be wrong, in fairness, is it, Ian? As we well know, so it came as a surprise to most of us. But I had a sneaky feeling we might do something. We're much better away from home than we are at home. You know, Wycombe came out and they tried to get out as early doors, and we scored an absolutely brilliant goal. But I thought Pearson and Lees were brilliant on the night. Pearson stood in Verlick and did a more than ample job in terms of the game. You know, we saw Coney go off the pitch, which is amazing. But we look like a team that's only conceded 18 goals in 20 odd games, and a team that was 14 unbeaten. You know, I think it's really weird that we were coming into a game tonight with a bit of pessimism, a bit of doom and gloom around the place. Yet we've gone 14 games unbeaten. It's only Town fans that could be like that. But an unbelievable. I'm really pleased with it, and I thought they deserved it. I do. I think it was a deserved 3 points. It wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, I agree, guys. I thought that, to be quite honest with you, I love the way that we pressed tonight. I thought we held them. I thought we held Wycombe at kind of 40 yards out with the press. I thought, to be fair to him, Kane was one of them that really led the press tonight. You know, he's had his critics with his fitness and stuff like that, but I really thought he stood up and was counted tonight. And I thought probably for a good 70, 75 minutes, we really did defensively control the game. I thought probably towards the end, you know, Wycombe got desperate. We were a bit frantic in defence, but yeah, bar the shot off the bar, I think we were comfortable, weren't we?
I tell you what, though, it's nice to see somebody take their main striker off in it when they've scored more than anyone else in the division, apart from Louis Barry, because I honestly thought that's only something we kind of do in history. So as soon as he took Coney off, you thought, do you know what? This might just be our day, but I can't believe how poor Wycombe were. And now I just wonder if we've caught them on a bit of a bad day or if we've made them look bad. I think that's the big question coming out of this, because to say they could go top with a win today, they never looked like beating us to me. And we've played Stockport recently where we scored early and we had to defend for most of the game. But for me, in that game, we were under a little bit of threat in moments, and it didn't feel like that today until maybe the last 5 or 10 minutes. And of course, you're going to get that against whoever you're playing in a 1-0 game. They throw everything at you, and it's hard to sort it out. But I thought we were really, really, really good today, and I just don't understand how we're languishing in fourth. Because if Wycombe are one of the best teams in the division, we were better than them tonight, and that's even with the amount of injuries we've got. Obviously, they've lost a couple of guys that I think must be quite important to them. And maybe Wycombe now will hit a bit of a downturn because of it. I think Wrexham will as well. But tonight's win for me, boys, brings us back into that top 2 shout. I tweeted out beforehand that if we're after the top 2, if we're after automatic promotion, as Kev and everybody else at the club suggested, tonight's a bit of a must-win after dropping points against Burton and Rotherham. And we've gone and done it. We've gone and got the job done. And pretty comfortably for me. I thought it was a fantastic performance. And it's another game where we're missing so many players. Yet the strength in depth, again, we spoke about it before. I don't think we've got those standout players that can kind of drag us through games when we're really struggling. But as an average, our squad's as good as any other team in this division bar Birmingham. And over the course of 46 games, if we continue with the effort we put in tonight, we will either be second or very close to it, because tonight was really, really good. I'm a very happy Town fan this evening, and it's quite rare I say that, to be honest.
Bloody hell, eh? What's going on? Chris Watson, great victory. It's very bizarre, though. We're up there with all the injuries and no strikers. Well, yeah, true that. I mean, if we had a half-decent striker and luck with injuries, I think we'd be right up there, wouldn't we? Alex Lomax says, wow, massive 3 points. Really big win. JG828, massive win. Awful game, though. Can't believe that was top of the table clash. It's never awful if you win, though, is it? Let's be honest. It would be awful if we got an equaliser, but I think it was a great game. Stephen Shepherd, evening chaos, huge win. That Mark Harrison did the job tonight against a physical team. Yeah, there were a lot of fouling going on. I thought the ref, to begin with, I thought let quite a few things go, but I mean, Bradley, I think poor Bojan will be seeing Bradley in his nightmares, I think, for a few weeks. He got absolutely beat up, didn't he? Poor lad. Jonas, massive 3 points and a game in hand. Yeah, and I think the Wycombe game being postponed helped us out a lot. I think if we play him in that earlier game, you know, in the form they're in, maybe things would have been a bit different. But maybe that's something finally in this season that's worked in our favour. Yeah, Jonas Helic travelled off the bus home ill. Swap deal, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you always get all these rumours every time someone doesn't play, don't you? We'll have to see with that. We'll have to see what happens. But I tell you what was nice to see, old Radinho Bolka making an appearance back on the pitch. New hairdo, looks slick, did some decent defending, and you could see the value of his pace in the recovery in particular. Shall we? Let's dig down deep into it then, boys, and let's talk about the first half. I mean, it could have gone either 2 ways for me. Wycombe could have either blown us away, or I thought we could scrap and shit out as a result here. And I thought both teams looked a little bit tentative, a bit sluggish, but I thought we had a good shape. And I guess, you know, the corner comes in, the keeper has an attempt at punching it, doesn't really get hold of it properly. It drops to Herbie Kane, and you're thinking, he's taking this on the volley, he's going to smash this over the bar. Because 99 times out of 100, that's usually what happens. And it's a great finish, isn't it, into far corner. It's beautiful. I mean, and then at that point, you're thinking, oh, because the thing is, if the goal goes the other way and it's Wycombe, I think it's completely different. You know, I think this season we've been so good when we have gone in front at maintaining a lead and been organised, but we've really struggled when going behind away from home. I just thought it was a really nicely timed goal quite early on, and beautiful finish, Gaz, wasn't it, from Herbie Kane?
It was proper top bins, wasn't it? He waved it. He came down a long way. On your Dibner, who was marking him, for some reason, just stood and watched him. I mean, why he didn't go with him, I don't really know. But a fantastic sweep. But it came from really our first attack. Karoma had got the ball down the left-hand side, and he caused him a bit of problems in the first 15, 20 minutes, did Karoma. And he did what he's been doing recently, which is he shaped to come inside. There was 2 defenders. It was 2-on-1. 2 guys came across, and they both went in. There's a touchline, pal. If you want it, go for it. And he went for it, and Marshall made a brilliant run, and the keeper made a brilliant save to stop Marshall scoring. And then after that, he then proceeded to flap at the corner like a good one. I mean, it was an absolutely crap punch, but you can't take anything away from the finish, can you, mate? I mean, it was proper top draw. It's a goal that deserved to win a game, actually. So I'm glad it did.
Guys, how old are you? Pulling out language like top bins. Oh, he's putting in top bins.
Top bins.
Living in soccer, I am still, aren't you, guys?
You know me.
It's funny though, 30 minutes in, right? Stats said Town had 4 shots and Wycombe had none. And now I'm telling you, there's not many games this season where Town will go away from home and not concede a shot for the first 30 minutes. I always speak about first 10 minutes of games not meaning very much, and it was the same tonight. It was pretty frantic. But like you say, guys, that from there we took the initiative. There were a couple of chances. There were even one before that where Hodge plays Marshall in for a one-on-one. Early doors, and Marshall should have done better, to be honest. You could have argued he should have scored at that point. Obviously, he didn't. Straight after, Karoma's got it down the left-hand side. And now, the last couple of games against Burton and Rotherham, what seems to happen with Town fans is that if things aren't working too well, we're not scoring as many goals as we should be doing, we start blaming Karoma and Wiles for some reason, right? Karoma tonight was 2'd up most of the game. Every time he got it on the left-hand side, they were terrified. So they chucked 2 on him. The criticism most people give Josh Karoma is his only move is he cuts into the right-hand side and uses his right foot to try and put it across the goal, a bit like Henry's style. And obviously it's not as good as that. But that kind of, he graces it with his right foot into the far side netting. That's kind of what he does. He didn't tonight. He went outside every time. And that chance he put over to Marshall. Marshall should have done better with that one as well. But the finish is fantastic. It's another good corner from Ben Wiles. I need to point that one out too. Punch isn't great, but the corner is good. But Kane's hit it first time. What an effort. What an effort. And honestly, Herbie Kane, when he came in this summer, Duff spoke about it, hasn't he? That he didn't come back in the greatest of shapes. Injury or whatnot, he wasn't ready to go at the beginning of the season. Now, we expected him to hit the ground running. He didn't. And again, when he came in, I thought he was an attacking midfielder. I thought he played this kind of 10 role. And for us, he's transitioned into a bit more of a holding midfielder. So Ben Wiles can kind of do that. Yet when he gets half a sniff like he has tonight, he's the guy of our midfield who you want on the edge of it. Wiles can hit it nice if it's on the floor. He's good at that kind of recycled shot. But that one on the first time effort from a punch from the goalkeeper, there's nobody else you want on that other than Herbie Kane. What a finish, honestly. We just needed it because like you've said there, Nick, we are pretty good at defending leads and we're not good at having to force teams backwards and try and create chances. In games like this, in games like Stockport at home, so far we've gone ahead quite early and then look comfortable afterwards. There is something quite special about this team if we go ahead. There's other things we have to work on, absolutely, but honestly, what a goal from Herbie Kane. Fantastic.
I thought, Killer, I think it's worth just noting as well. You know, Karoma, I think, in recent weeks has gone inside a lot. And I noticed in the Rotherham game, he started to go outside, and like you said tonight, he seemed to choose that over cutting inside. And actually, he's pretty handy with his left foot. You know, it's that kind of he fizzes a ball in, doesn't it? You know, it's not a crossing that you've got to try and kind of architect a kind of finish with it. You know, Marshall was able to just get a little touch on it, and you know that's the kind of ball you want in. So it's good that he can change it up like that, I think.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I think we look pretty comfortable that first half. I don't think they really laid a glove on us, to be honest. I was quite surprised. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Kone this season. I think he's a really, really good prospect. And I think he'll go a long way. And he's the sort of player I wish we'd sign. But, I mean, he was anonymous, really, that first half. We've kept him at arm's length, restricted him to very few chances, and going in at half-time thinking, we're in control here. And if we could just get that second goal just to ease the old nerves a bit. But what do you make to Radulovic, guys, again? Because, you know, some people I've seen in the comments somewhere, let me see if I can find it. I saw a comment saying he was anonymous. I think in the last few games, here we go, Jonathan. Bojan never looked near. I think he's been asked to do quite a difficult job to me. He's asked to drop deep, link people up. It's not what he was used to doing. And the past few games he's done it, I think he's been better. He's always going to have critics because he isn't scoring and he isn't assisting at the moment. And he's a striker, so that's going to be what he's judged on ultimately. Do you think he's starting to come into things a little bit more, or do you think actually no, he's still not doing enough?
You better not ask me. Tristan says I've got a hatred for him. Tristan used the word hatred. I don't hate him, Tristan. I don't hate him. That's hard. He just does nothing for me. The lad just does nothing for me. I mean, there was one in the in the second half where the ball came up for him. He came to he tried to flick it sideways, but somehow headed it backwards and played us into trouble. I mean, how he did that, I don't know. I just don't get him. I just don't see what he brings. Listen, somebody's saying Neil Ladapo's shite and he's better than that, and there's plenty of opinion that that's the case, that he's better than Ladapo, but it's a pretty low bar. I mean, I keep going on about the, I've been going on about the signings all night. We've let 2 strikers go. We must have some coming in, because with an half decent striker in the team, we would have beaten Burton and we would have beaten Rotherham, and we now be knocking on the top spot. And that's the difference now. And with Ukilla, the rest of the team is as good as anything else. We've got strength in depth across the back 5 now, with the exception of wing back, and we've got now Evans is back. I thought Hogg came on and played brilliant, but I thought the subs tonight made a real difference to the game. It was another one of these where I thought Duff got the subs absolutely spot on, not just the personnel, but the time to drop in as well. The last 15 minutes, Ladapo and Hogg, they're the kind of subs you want out there. But yeah, look, he don't do out for me. He don't Radulovic, I'm afraid. And I would think when we bring some more bodies in, we'll probably not see him again, I wouldn't have thought.
Look, tonight isn't really the night to have a bit of a go at him, because I think as a team effort, it's pretty much not a perfect away performance. We've gone away against a team that can go top of the league, and now step back from saying it's only Wycombe, because I don't like that talk. We're in this division for a reason, and they are one of the informed teams, or were up until, like you say, a couple of lads went home in January. 30 minutes in, we've had 4 shots. By the end of the game, we'll get on to the second half in a bit, I guess, but we've only had 5 shots. So the first 30 minutes of the game, we did quite a bit of work for the strikers. And then from going 1-0 up, we've kind of sat back and not really offered very much, but stayed quite restrictive at the back. Radulovic got fouled quite a few times. But no, for me, he's again, I don't want to go into too hard onto him tonight. I don't think he's ever going to be the striker we need, unfortunately. I think he's adapting his game to offer what he can in the system that Duff wants. And that is dropping into that role in midfield and playing it quick to the sides. And he's getting better at it. He's never going to be great at it. He's not. I don't think he's physically tough enough to play in this division. I don't think his game suits League One. Maybe he will get better, but I don't think it will. But he's the best we've got after Marshall at the moment. If you're going to select 2 guys to start up front, so I think we've got to see it out. But again, it's important not to pick on individuals when you've gone away to Wycombe and won 1-0 and won pretty comfortably. So I think it's a bit harsh to go in too hard at him. But Steve, my mate Steve, who likes to dig me out every time Wiles doesn't do amazingly. I just want to point out, Steve, I'm giving Wiles an assist for the corner. So he might have been shy all game. He might have done very little other than that. But he did put the corner in we scored from. So I'll just mention that one there, Steve.
I think for me, probably where I do come from a bit of a different angle with Radulovic. I think he, as Killer has alluded to, is probably the best we've got at this minute in time. I don't think he's great, and actually I think for a long period of time he was trying to play a game that he couldn't play, that was trying to wrestle with big centre halves in this division. And actually, I think him coming away from those centre halves and trying to link up play in midfield is probably more his game, and that's why you see him a little more confident in that. And probably, and I appreciate Gaz. I don't think you hate him really, but I appreciate that it is a bit of a low bar. But I guess I wanna praise where possible. I think Ladapo at this minute in time just bar Ladapo, I thought the subs were good. I thought when Ladapo came on, we were like 10 men. He were jogging around, and again, I think it was the Stockport game where Callum Marshall's running around like headless chicken, trying to shut people down, making tackles. He's been on for 90 minutes, and Ladapo looks like he's done 120 minutes. So I think at least Bojan attempts to put effort in. I think he's where he probably lets himself down is he often looks like he's on the back foot and he reacts to stuff. And I think that probably didn't help him. I think if he was more on the front foot, and I think if he was more if he was more involved in the game, then he'd probably get a bit of a better shot at it.
You're not
He's done last two games. He's done fine, hasn't he? I mean, I'm not saying the lad's been horrendous the last two games. He's been fine.
Fine.
He is not a man that's going to fire this team into the top two, is he? He just isn't. So, it doesn't change the facts. We desperately need some strikers and quick.
Yeah. Tristan, you're not the only one to think that it's like playing with 10 men with Freddie, and I don't want to be too awful for it, because I didn't like the treatment he got at home in the stands. I thought that were really unfair. He's not quite Dementor territory like Diakabi was. Remember I made that because he honestly used to frighten me every time he came on the pitch. But your heart does sink when you see him, because you know he ain't going to offer out. He doesn't chase down. He doesn't seem like... He makes good runs. He's the only striker I know who makes really good runs away from the ball. Like, the ball comes in and he runs away from it. I don't know. Like, he doesn't really close people down. He doesn't make intelligent runs across the front post when the ball comes in. He like runs in the opposite direction. He doesn't really win headers. I think we're not playing to his strengths, and I don't think that he's the player that he was, with the greatest of respect. I mean, we've got him for another year. I hope maybe gets a goal and it starts to turn for him. But I think when we get another striker or two in, I think we're not really going to see him, and it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I couldn't help but think when he came on, well, that's zero attack then for the rest of the game. It's all backs to the wall. But let's talk a bit more about second half, because we maybe rode our luck a little bit at times. The first main chance that I could think of was a Kone effort where it gets played through and Chapman rushes out, and to me makes a really good save at his feet. And I really, the more I'm seeing Chapman, I know some people are saying, well, no, Nichols needs to go back in once he's fit. But to me, the more I'm seeing him, the more I'm thinking, no, I don't think he does, because to me, this guy's our future, long-term keeper. You've got to keep playing him. He doesn't really make a mistake. His distribution were really calm again tonight. I thought his distribution were really good. The defenders seem to trust him. He commands his area really well. He came out and made a couple of good catches. And again, I thought that were a really good save again tonight. He's not doing anything wrong in my eyes. But Tristan, what do you think, mate? Because some people are saying, no, definitely Nichols because of the experience coming back in. But to me, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Probably before this season, I'd probably agree. I'd probably have said absolutely. We need Nichols in there. Is everything. Bizarrely, this week, something's cropped up on X that shows. I think it was the 2021 Team of the Year, and Nichols is the goalkeeper in it, and the rest of the team have gone on to the Premier League effectively, and Nichols is in League One. And actually, I think really that's where his form's gone a little bit. He's kind of gradually declined in his form, and to be honest with you, I can't fault Chapman, and I absolutely agree with you that he's the future, and Nichols in ultimately, and if we can get rid of Nichols for a bit of money at this minute in time, then I'd be all for that. I think the thing as well for me with Chapman is he has such fantastic awareness. There was something kind of late second half where a ball had deflected, I think off Turton, and the ball's going out for a corner, and he's literally legged it, got a hand on it, and then gone round and scooped it up. And you're kind of thinking, like, good effort. It's something to note, but actually it was probably a corner, and it's you never know what can happen from it. And I just think there's a real positive awareness there, and he's got such fantastic kind of ability to pick a pass out. There's times where I'm thinking, God, he's playing this tight, and if he's a ball that you'd be happy with Kane playing through, and it's from the goalkeeper. So yeah, I'm all with you, Nick. I think as long as there's no serious blunders before kind of Nichols comes back, I think you have to stick with him.
It's working, isn't it, as well? Like, the thing is with goalkeepers, I think it's the same with centre defenders and centre midfielders. If you're winning games, you're not conceding goals, you can't change anything, because you don't know what the actual piece that's working is sometimes you can't see it. None of us can, but you play him, and sometimes we look better, and then you change him for somebody you think's better, but the team as a whole look worse. And just tonight, boys, on a quicker side, I thought we looked better without Hellick playing. I think Pearson and Lees at centre back, we looked better defensively than when Hellick plays. I know Hellick's good in the air, although he had a bit of a torrid time against Burton, to be honest. But I actually think we look better, and that's another thing. Whereas you see Hellick playing, you think, nah, he's the best centre back we have, regardless of whether he's going or not, if he's ill or not, whatever it is. I think we look better tonight at centre back than we do when Hellick's played. And now I wouldn't have expected that, but that's just how I saw it this evening. With Chapman, the other thing that comes into it over Nichols is obviously Nichols has been injured quite a bit the last few seasons as well. You've got to consider that. You also have to consider the money that it costs to keep Nichols is going to be one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive goalkeeper in the division. And Chapman won't be. He's not played that many games. We're a club with a limited budget. If it's something where you can keep Chapman because he's playing and we're doing absolutely fine. And to me, boys, we keepers in my town supporting life, there's not too many that have come in and played from the off and you've thought, yeah, he's fine, crack on. We had it with Alex Smithies, we had it with Lossell, we had it with Arson, even though he got sent off in his first game, a bit like Ruskins. There's a few goalkeepers that have come in from day one, you think fine, but then there's a lot that have come in like Scott Bevan and Eastwood and I can go through a lot of them. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus on a nice evening like tonight. But Chapman plays. He's only played 21 league games, I think our mate Cam Pope said today on the commentary before this season or before he became our number one. And he don't look like it, does he? His distribution is as good as anyone we've ever had in goal for me. I think he's phenomenal when it comes to throwing the ball out or passing the ball out. Okay, against Rotherham, he nearly got caught for one. But generally, it's as good as anything. It's like another weapon in attack in that we turn the teams really quickly when you get going forward. He doesn't make mistakes, or he hasn't done just yet. I think there was one where they were a dodgy back pass to him that bounced off and went in against Bolton, was it, in the Cup? But apart from that, he's been pretty much perfect. And I don't think you can change a goalkeeper when he's playing and we have one of the best defences in the division. And we've gone tonight away from home against the top goal scorers. And bar hitting the bar from a pretty speculative effort from the edge of the box, they've not had a sniff. I think he's sorry.
No, I was saying he's kept 9 clean sheets. I'll tell you what else is impressive, Killer, with it, is the fact that the players in front of him have rotated and changed in virtually every game. Young keepers like that, they often thrive when they're playing behind 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 settled, experienced, quality defenders. And he's had chaos. I mean, he's somebody different every week playing him. And I know it's actually Balker, when Balker played the first back pass to him, almost put it onto his wrong foot. I don't know if you noticed that. Whereas, of course, all the other players now have got used to where he is and where he plays. So I think that makes it even more impressive. I was just looking, he's kept 9 clean sheets in 17 appearances. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean,
that has to be the best, doesn't it? That has to be the best start of any keeper we've had coming in.
Over 50% clean sheet. So and that's behind the defence who have chopped and changed, not just in every match, but during games. How long did Nigel last on Saturday? 2 minutes before we brought a sub on. Spencer's limped off after 70 minutes. Bring Bolker back on. He changed Karoma for Ruffles. Turton's played right wing back. Spencer's been at right wing back. Ellick's been in. Pearson's been in and out. So I think that makes it all the more impressive for me. So and Duff's a big one for if you're in and you're playing well, you keep your shirt. So I think even when Nichols was fit, it'd take a lot for him to drop Chapman.
I think we've got a number 2 in Maxwell more than happy standing, and I think you're right, Ian, the wages involved. I think I really like Nichols. He's brought a lot to us. I loved him in that playoff season. I thought it was great, but I just see a really promising young keeper, and what kind of message does that send if as soon as Nichols comes back, he's out the side after playing so well. Like you say, he's kept so many clean sheets, and I think part of that, I think it's helped in the fact that yes, it's League One, and some of the sides we've played that they don't get loads of chances. So he's not like he's being peppered, whereas like Ryan Schofield, if you think back to them days in the Champions, it's a bit of a different environment, isn't it? And different defence in front of him. So I think that's helped him to a degree, but you've still got to get in there, play well. He's so calm, and I just think for that age, really, really promising, and long may it continue. And then the main chance for Wycombe, Backinson, I mean, it comes back. I mean, it's a right effort, to be fair. Flick back effort, and it's beaten Chapman all ends up. Originally, I thought he might have got a finger to it, but it doesn't. It goes over him and saved by the bar. I mean, if that goes in, I guess you probably have to hold your hands up and say it's a great finish. But sometimes I think you need a bit of luck. And I mean, we haven't had a lot of luck with decisions, have we? Refereeing decisions this season, let's be honest. So to get a little bit of luck there, maybe we've deserved that for all the bad luck we've had. And yeah, bounces off the bar and we can all breathe again. Was your heart in your mouth, Gaz, when you saw that?
It was. And when they brought McCleary on, I mean, every time we played against McCleary, he's caused us problems, and so it happened again because it was his. But it was a brilliant cutback by him. And the ball, you're right, Nick, it was really difficult, sort of half behind the guy, wasn't it? He was sort of half turning as he managed to get a foot on it to volley it. And I have to be honest, I thought it dipped in. So I was delighted when it hit the bar and bounced away.
And then I think, to be honest, after that, I mean, I think that last spell in injury time, I think we controlled it really well. Evans does really well on a couple of occasions to get on the ball, draw fouls, and just work us up the pitch. And we just in that at the time never really looked like conceding. And all in all, I mean, you've got to say it's, to me, pretty much the perfect away performance. Clean sheet, 1-0, 3 points again, second in the league. I mean, even I would struggle to moan watching that.
You'll have a go.
I mean, I'll try.
I was delighted. Well, we're going to moan about referee because he was absolutely dreadful.
Of course we can.
He only put 4 minutes stoppage time. I don't know. There must have been 20 substitutes when the trainers were on for Spencer for at least 2 or 3 minutes. So I was surprised when only 4 minutes went up. I was delighted with that. I thought Evans probably of all the subs was the one that affected the game the least. He gave it away quite a few times actually, but as you said, in extra time, in overtime, stoppage time. I'm still thinking American here overtime.
Listen to
overtime.
Oh, look at me. Spent New Year in New York.
I'm now a big ice.
Kevin a bit proud.
So yeah, but he controlled. He won a couple of as you say, really cute free kicks. We kept it up in that top corner for quite a while as well. So I was delighted, mate. I'm really, really pleased. And honestly, I thought it's probably the most important game of the season because we don't win. If they win and we don't, then you've got to say probably automatically gone. We would have been 7 or 8 points behind, and we're not going to win 3 more games than either Wycombe or Birmingham, are we? So I'm delighted. And I also think against Wycombe, that's 2 games out of 3. I think they've lost now. So suddenly they're looking over their shoulder. Wrexham, I mean, how they keep digging these wins out, I don't know, but I'm convinced Wrexham will hit a flat spot at some point because they haven't got the strength in depth and they can't keep scoring goals in the 90th minute. They just can't. So I think it's back on now, but it depends what we do with signings.
Look at us. We can't help ourselves, can we, boys? 1 win and we're back in. We're back in. Honestly, guys, you dropping in New York American talks made my day more than the town winners. No, it's nice. I just felt comfortable. It felt comfortable all game, and it's rare that it's been like that. I thought Stockport we did as well, but I just felt for Wycombe. If I were a Wycombe fan, I'd be quite worried about them. It felt watching it. It kind of felt, and like I try and watch it as a neutral. Obviously, I'm a Town fan, but I do try and watch games as right. If I'm not a Town fan, how would I see it again? Not as good as Cam Pope. I can't believe he didn't celebrate. I'd have been proper giving it large when Kane smashed one in on the full. Of course you would. But Cam didn't, kept his professionality.
He was too busy replying to tweets from Town fans telling him how biased he is to Wycombe.
But with Wycombe, it felt like it was the first time they were tested against a big boy with a new team. And they ran out of ideas. And you could, in the first half especially, see that they were in trouble. And in the second half, they were frustrated. And it looked like they were lost. It looked like they didn't know how to break us down. And now we do play better against teams that come at us. And now you're at Wycombe away from home. Wycombe going top of the league if they win the game. First time they've probably had a bit of pressure on them. We've not won for a couple of games. We're not in great form. We've got a lot of injuries. On paper, I think Wycombe were expected to win tonight. And now that's rare for Town to go into a game like that. We faced it twice before this season, I think, in Wrexham away, where we didn't really turn up because we were happy with the draw. Birmingham away, which to me, bar Tamworth and Walsall in the EFL Cup second round, was probably the worst performance in that I didn't like how we set up against Birmingham. I thought it was very defeatist, we're not as good as you, so we'll just try and contain you. This is kind of, I don't know, the first time where we've had to go and play somebody, I think, where they're expected to win. And we turned up to win tonight. And I don't think Wycombe knew what to do with us. To me, I've learned myself that the gap between Birmingham and then us, and then everybody else is quite big. I think we don't have the strikers really to score enough goals for us to get to where we deserve to be. Because for me, bar Birmingham, we are better than everybody else in this division. I think it's pretty clear. I think we control midfield. We don't give away chances too easily unless we're trying to go for a goal ourselves and overcommitting forward. I was quite surprised with how poor Wycombe were. I expected more from them, and they just ran out of ideas. Michael Duff has got us playing well, and I think we now understand what he wants from us. We defend very narrow, so we let Wycombe try and come down the outside, and it didn't work because we were pretty quick with it. Spencer and Karoma, we were fine on there. Turton, everyone knows I love him. I think he's a bit of a solid defender in that. Yeah, he's not great going forward, but you ain't going to get round him. You ain't going to get past him. He'll stop everything down his side. Wycombe then were resulting to long balls, and Pearson and Lees aced it up all day long, and then Wycombe had no idea what to do. And going into the latter half of this season now for us, I don't think I could be more positive. I thought tonight was a massive win, not just the 3 points, but the way in which we handled Wycombe and the way in which they couldn't ask us any questions, because I don't think they did. And I didn't expect that. I thought we were in for a tough game. I thought we might be able to win. We spoke about it before the game, guys, and everyone else in the chat. But the way in which it happened was quite unexpected. We manhandled Wycombe tonight, and I didn't think we had it in us. It's a really, really good end of the day.
We in recent pods we've pulled out individuals in teams, Stockport, that bit. I don't think you could tonight, could you? Possibly an absolute push. Maybe was it Humphrey or something like that, the lad that they had. But for a team that's kind of flick-flacking with Birmingham to for the top of the league, you kind of thinking, and does this play into the thought process that if you've got a goal scorer, you've got half a chance of being near the top of the league? That's all I can think tonight, because I literally completely agree with you, Killer. There was no one that stood out that you sort of thought, oh, he's standing up and being countered. Even the captain, their captain tonight was just a moaner. He just kept running to the ref. And I think just going back to a point you made earlier on, Killer, about Pearson and Lees. I think defensively they're fantastic. I think probably where I was concerned tonight was were we going to get out footballed to some extent? And with them two at centre, at centre half and right centre half, are we going to struggle with getting that ball kind of into players in midfield? And obviously, Duff decided we weren't really going to play that way. There wasn't many balls that went from. Probably early on, there was a few balls that went from Chapman into the defenders, but a lot of the balls today went long. And I think probably long term, we do want Bolker thrown into that mix to just bring that ability to play football from the back and bring that in. But yeah, I was concerned tonight, and actually there were. Pearson in particular, I thought was exceptional, winning headers, and as we kind of found out on Saturday, or we saw with Duff on Saturday, he throws him on as almost an attacking option as well, doesn't he? With the corners and stuff like that. So yeah, and I guess the other part is in recent weeks we've properly controlled the midfield. In that kind of long run, we've properly controlled the midfield with Kasumu. And I think part of that has been he's always on the front foot, and he quite often picks up the second. I think we've probably lost that a little bit. But I think where we may have gained a bit more control is in possession. I think Hodge does bring an element of control in possession to the team. And although we didn't massively show it tonight, I thought tonight it was just all about the shape. I thought the shape tonight was superb. So.
It was a good one. And I think, Tristan, going back to that quickly with the defensive guys playing out from the back, I've had a real issue the last few games, and I spoke about it quite a lot about Tom Lees when he plays as a right centre-back. I don't want to get too technical, but I think he slows play down. I think he harms us attacking every time.
Yeah.
The other teams know he's not great on the ball going forward, so they let us play it out to him. And against Burton and against Burton especially, and even the game before that, I can't remember who it was. But they play it out to Lees, and he slows everything down. It's really pedestrian. But when he's playing as a centre-back, because Helic has an issue as well, he's not great at it either. He's pretty good at the long ball, but the passes into the middle, not great. But when Lees shifts from the right centre-back to the centre-back and Pearson comes in, who can play that forward ball, we've only got one centre-back then who can't really play too much football progressively. And I think that's a massive difference. And that's why, for me, I think today we look much better. I don't think Helic and Lee should play together. I think you can play one of them. And today was a perfect example of why. Now, when Pearson plays, and I really struggle to understand why Duff doesn't fancy Pearson as much as I do. I think Pearson is one of the better centre-backs that we have. And it really helps when he's in there with either Lees or Helic. But Duff just doesn't seem to like it that way, does he? He seems to prefer having Lees and Helic in there. But no, I'm interested.
They're a better pairing when we're up against somebody who wants to attack us, though. I thought I'm with you. I thought Lees, Spencer, and Pearson just ate up their front two tonight. And those front two have caused every other team in this league, including Birmingham, problems. They absolutely managed them from minute one till they got taken off. I mean, they basically changed the front four. Their subs. We haven't got 4 strikers. They changed all 4. Bastards.
Do you know, Gaz? Bizarrely, we were. I know we've all listened to Andy Kay on another pod today. He alluded to a game that actually was the last time I think Pearson and Lees played as well as they did tonight. It was against Fulham, where they just completely ate Mitrovic up. And enjoyed the battle, and I thought tonight they were as good as that. To be honest with you,
it was just nice though, wasn't it? Tristan, you could see the Wycombe players looking at each other, and it kept on the highlights. Something would go slightly wrong, and they look at each other and just like huff, like they couldn't even get they couldn't get angry. They just knew they were thoroughly beaten tonight, and it was a hell of a beating. And I think, do you know what? It'll however this season pans out, this is going to be, I think, a bit of a turning point, because it felt like we had pressure on us today to go and win because we've not had a great couple of results. And we found a way to do it. And it isn't against a It isn't one of those games where you've been battered all game and you've managed to shithouse one in the last second. No, we deserved it. I don't care about how many shots we had. Watching that game, we deserved that win. And we did it when it mattered. And it's the first time we've done it for a long, long time. What a day.
And I tell you who deserves a shout, by the way. The fans, the 500 or so fans that were there. You couldn't hear anything else on the TV. Honestly, they were absolutely immense. So I'm delighted for them as well. Those people that made that effort to go all the way down there on a snowy, rainy Tuesday night, probably taking the afternoon off work. I'm pleased for them as well. I'll tell you, we were talking about the other one, man. I think I've just been sat here thinking about what you were saying, Ian, just thinking about the way we played certainly today. And although it's still not every game for me, I think the one thing Duff is doing is finally banishing that fragile mental state that we get ourselves into. I don't think it's ever going to be gone completely, because some of those players are permanently scarred, and until you change those players, it's always going to be there in the back of the mind. But we look so much stronger mentally on the pitch, and I know we gave Almec Kasuma a new contract because he did so well. I'm just wondering whether we need to keep our eye on Duff, because if you were a struggling championship club that could pay him twice the wages we are, this guy's got a team that couldn't string 4 passes together at the beginning of the season on a 15-game unbeaten run with injuries left, right, and centre and no strikers. So the guy's working minor miracles at the minute.
I think it's interesting that, Gaz, because I think someone one of you guys made a point earlier on. I do think we look a far better team away from home, and I think some of that fragility is in the fans as well, to some extent. There's you can. Rotherham were a great example of it. Longback goes down inside 2 minutes, and it just completely flattened the atmosphere, didn't it? And I said to my mate at the side of me, I said, that ain't good, and it wasn't the fact that Longback had gone down. It was the fact that the fans just went silent for quite a while, and I think probably some of that then rubs off on the players.
We're being mentally pounded, mate. That's what it is. Watching Dross year in, year out, that we're all inherently miserable, and it's going to take time, isn't it? It is, though. You're right. At home, the atmosphere's not been great, has it? I mean, it's been, I wouldn't say hostile at times, but it's just been a bit of. There's been a lot of moans and groans, haven't there? And for a team that's gone 14, 15 unbeaten in league, it's a bit weird, really, because although we've still got a disappointment in us, like Burton, who I thought the first half was one of the worst I've seen all season, you know, for the best part, this group of lads are obviously trying every game. They're giving their all, and we're getting results. And, you know, considering last season and where everybody was on the floor to now, if you'd have said now, right, at the end of last season, if you'd have said we're going to be fourth midway through the season, we're only going to be a few points off the top two going into transfer window, you'd take it, wouldn't you? But I think most fans would take that. So I think we've got to maybe alter his mentality a bit at home. I think you're right, Tristan. I thought the away fans were great, guys. I thought that, you know, we moan about, having said that, we moan about our atmosphere. What about that tonight? I thought it was pathetic from old fans. The second in league, I thought he'd forgot his effects, mate. Because you couldn't hear anything, could you? It was absolutely dead. There was some old woman sat with a blanket on and a cup of tea, dozing off, doing a knitting or something, pan around to the crowd, and I'm like, the second in league, like, yeah, they had a little bit of a rough patch, they've lost a couple of players, but they're right up there against fourth at home. It's a big game. Yeah, it's a Tuesday, it's cold weather, I know that, but yeah, if you can't get up for a game like that, when can you? I thought it was really odd, really quiet. But like you say, 500 fans travelling down there, singing throughout. I thought they would, as they are every away game. I think our fans are incredible. Just reading some comments. Free pipe from down at the Mac with us. There's some bringing out the big guns tonight. Welcome, mate. Mark B, Birmingham fan, says good luck. I don't know why you listen to this, mate, but all are welcome. He says good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully our teams get out of this awful league. We'll let the ears open, mate. Although I
think you'll be fine, Mark.
I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be, barring an absolute calamity, I think you'll be all right. Ben Denby said, when Evans gets back to full fitness, does he start? If so, where? And I guess that's the problem. Like, I mean, we're at our, is it 24th injury of the season now, 25th injury, which is absolutely horrific, isn't it? But you know, it begs the question when we have all our players back, who actually starts? Because you could argue with the first team out at the moment, injured. I don't know. What is our best midfield? I mean, that Kasumu, Wiles, Kane has worked really well. But then you throw Hodge into the mix, you know, good footballer, good passing. Evans got good set piece on him. Where does he fit in? You know, Wiles, for all people moan. I mean, I'm with Ian on this. To me, he's our most dangerous midfielder. He creates the most chances, he assists more, he scores more, and yeah, he's not Zidane, so he's not going to be putting 50-yard purling balls pinging across the park every 2 minutes. But the stats don't lie. He's very effective. So, Ian, you know what? If he's back to fitness, what do we do? Do we put him in, or is he the sort of player to come off the bench and impact, do you think?
Of all the signings we made in this summer, I think Evans has been the most disappointing. And I don't want to put a downer again on the evening, but he came in as Bristol Rovers player of the season this year or the year before, I can't remember whichever, and they speak about him being as one of the best players they've ever had, and that the best players, that they love him. They absolutely loved him. And seeing him for us so far, it's just not really worked, has it, for him? He's looked frustrated when he's been on the pitch. Did he get sent off before? He should have been sent off. Can't remember. He throws himself in. He has a bit of a whinge every now and again. I thought today, quick aside, he did okay when he came on, guys. I thought he would better than what you might have suggested, but he won a few Scott Malone kind of free kicks that won us a game, and I'll remember it anyway, even if nobody else will do. But no, I don't think you can change our midfield. I think Hodge can probably step in for Kasumu and be a less of a drop off than what you'd get by taking out Kane and Wiles. I think Kane and Wiles are two of the best midfielders in this division. You can see it by dominating midfields. No midfield has dominated us apart from Birmingham, if I remember correctly. I can't really remember what we had against Wrexham, so I'm gonna hold that out. But Birmingham, we didn't really try, and we'll let them dictate. We'll let them have all the possession, and okay, we conceded there, but generally we're all right in the middle. So I won't be changing anything. But what you do need is competition for places. No matter who you are, if there's nobody behind you trying to fight the way in over the course of a season, form normally dips. So you need guys, you need next men up. And like you say, 24 injuries, of course we'll need Evans at some point. We'll definitely need him. And I just hope that he gets back to where he's at. It could, because to me, I don't quite understand the hype that he came in with. I I don't know how many goal involvements, assist goals he's got this year for us, but it has to be very, very few. But there's definitely something there. He's proven it at this level. But then again, I think it's different proving it as well if you're a team at the bottom of the division compared to a team at the top of the division, because it's a very different kind of way of playing football. You don't have much of the ball, so you've got to be quick in transition and hit your fast strikers quickly. That's different to being able to force possession, force chances by playing in the final third and trying to create intricate little passes because either team's set deep. And Evans hasn't really done too well at that just yet, but nobody else has either in our team. I don't really know, but there's going to be a massive part for him to play, I'm sure.
I don't think he's probably had a run of games as he started off the season and then kind of got his injury and kind of has hadn't played since. I thought he showed glimpses of what he could do against Rotherham. I thought he put a nice ball in over the top for, I think, Marshall possibly. So I think probably it's a bit of a Evans. I'd like to give him more time. I think, quite as you alluded to, Killer, it's just great to have, if we could have competition for places, and actually, you do just wonder if we've got into this cycle where players have got injured, but then we haven't been able to rotate some of the lads. So, for that period of 14 games or whatever, Kane, Kasumu and Wiles probably played a good 85% of the time in that, and I'm surprised that more than just Kasumu weren't broken down from them, So, yeah, I think it's good, and I think early on in the season we started with Evans and Wiles. I don't think you can play them both together at all.
Oh, no.
And actually, I completely agree with you. For me, Kane could stand up as one of the best players in the league. To be honest with you, I thought he came on. I think against Sheffield United in a friendly at the start of the season, and I think he played in a kind of like 6, and looked decent. He got on the ball and he controlled the game. Wasn't bad on out of possession, but I think probably playing that little bit higher allows him a little bit of kind of someone sweeping up behind him effectively, and I think that suits him really well, and yeah, I just hope that we can get some more of the lads back in to kind of push them on, and not have to use Hogg other than like tonight.
Yeah, and that was, I was just thinking that, because I think we've said before, I'm sure Kasumu, Kane and Wiles is Duff's first choice, but to be able to rotate Evans or Hodge in for one or two of them, I mean, that's a great place to be, because I still think Evans would walk into most League One teams. I do, honestly. And then you've got Ayapenda in and amongst it, young lad who's got a bit of something. And then you've got Hogg. I thought today on 75 minutes, what an absolutely brilliant sub to be able to bring on in that game. A guy with that experience, that nous, and a bit of steel. And I can imagine the Wycombe midfielders weren't too delighted to see Hogg coming on after 75 minutes either. So, Evans will have I think somebody said he'll have a part to play. He will, because the way we're going, he'll get a run of 6, 8, 10 games due to injuries. So he'll have his part to play. But I think you're right. You can't play him and Wiles. They're too similar for me. And we're creating enough chances without having to chuck another attacking central midfielder on.
Wiles are looking a bit tired as well, and we've got another game at Shrewsbury. So, it's when do you rest him at some point? It's tough though, isn't it? When it's working, you don't want to make changes. But this is when you get injuries, when you just playing players relentlessly, and you've got games Monday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. It gets really, really difficult. What did Hogg get booked for, by the way, tonight? I saw a challenge and he said, I don't know if it was Ladapo or so, and he said, oh yeah, he's brought, and then and Hogg's been shown his rudimentary yellow card. I'm like, what for?
Yeah, so apparently I think their man went down, so they kicked the ball out for a throw-in, but he didn't kick it out to let the ball go down. But the referee then gave a drop ball, and I was going, no, it's our fucking throw-in, and the ref wouldn't have that it was our throw-in. So that's what he booked him for.
Hey, never mind that. I tell you what, Michael Duff getting a booking when we're on the look standing
Again.
now, innit?
He did a brilliant. I thought he did a brilliant
Cycling
computer
Nichols.
face. Did you see that?
No. Did you see what got booked for? He got booked for standing outside the technical area, right? So the ref goes over, books him, and Duff goes, "What? What?" Looks down at his feet, and he's outside technical area, and he goes, "Oh, all right, fair enough." And then eventually,
He stayed outside it though, didn't he? For a while.
Yeah,
Don't get sent off again. God's sake.
Bless
But
him.
it's brilliant result in it. And look, important lads, because I'm looking at the fixtures we've got in Jan. Shrewsbury away, Blackpool away, Bolton at home, Birmingham at home. I mean, it's not an easy run, that. It's not an easy run, is it? And I don't know. I mean, if we're serious about top two, I would say we've got to try and win 2 or 3 of those at least, haven't we? Birmingham at home, tough. But surely Shrewsbury away next game. Surely if we can go to Wycombe and get results, surely we can go there and get a result, you would think, wouldn't we?
I think so. And Shrewsbury a third bottom, aren't they? I've just been looking. So Shrewsbury a third bottom. We've got to play Northampton, got to play Blackpool as well, haven't we, in the next few weeks. They're all bottom half at table. We owe Blackpool one because I thought they taught us a lesson at our place. Steve Bruce proper old manders on that night. So we owe them one, don't we? It'll be a good turnout of town fans Saturday afternoon away in Blackpool. Saturday lunchtime, away in Blackpool. So I'm with you. I think when you've gone 15 unbeaten, it can't go on forever.
Of course it can.
I'd almost rather win those or take 7 points from those 3 and lose to Birmingham, because we're not catching Birmingham anyway, are we? Beating Birmingham isn't going to necessarily put us where we want to be, but yeah, the games we've got to go and win. And I think that's something, as I said before, about Duff's mentality. You said it, Killer. I think we're going to games now expecting to win games, which is a big difference in mindset.
Well, I think the next 3 games are massive. I think if we can take 9 points, I know it sounds ridiculous, 7 points minimum, but I'm looking at 9 points. I think we have to try and at this. But we've slipped up a little bit recently, and we've kind of got ourselves back into it today. But you've got to make the most. You've got to crack on, and it really is. I hate when they say we've won, we haven't lost for 14 games. I didn't like that spin from the club. Yeah, it's true, but there's ways in which you kind of go undefeated, and I feel like the last couple of games was a distinctive drop off, and today we're back at it now. But the fixtures are hard. It's the thing is in this division though. Bar Birmingham, I don't think anyone else is as good as anyone else. I think everyone, like you say, Tristan, a good striker gets you to the top of this league. Everyone else seems pretty similar. So no matter who we're playing, bar Birmingham, we should be going in there expecting to be able to win. And it's more about how we play. David Wagner used to speak about it, didn't he? And I know it's a lot of nonsense sometimes, I'll be honest. Because when coaches say, we don't concern ourselves with how the other team play, we just play our own way. That's not entirely true, and it shouldn't be true for anyone. But we are better, I think, than most teams. And we've got to go about it our own way. But to do that, you've got to win games. And these next few games, Shrewsbury, they had a little bit of upturning form, didn't they? Not too long back, but now they're not necessarily great again. You're looking at Blackpool. John Rhodes will probably score against us for standard, so we're going to have to score 2 there. That is a tricky one away from home, of course it is. And Bolton, they found a way to do all right again recently after Ian Evatt were nearly on his way to the job centre. But he's found a way to win a few games and stay there. It's huge, January. January is huge. I just hope we can get the business done right now to help us out in the next few games, because we have got 24 injuries. We are kind of, okay, we've got the best, in my opinion, squad in the league by Birmingham, and it's deep, so we can kind of ride it out. But it'll get to a point where we can't anymore. I just thought we get something done this week. And obviously, Joe Taylor was left out of the Luton squad yesterday. And there's rumours that he's on his way to us. Whether he does or he doesn't is not entirely the most important thing. It's that we bring bodies in, and he's bringing them in now, because I think if you wait until the 30th, 31st of January, it'll be too late. These games are massive, these next few games. And we've got to get results now. So hopefully Kev's seen win tonight. He's got a bit excited. Called his mate Kev in his garage. Called him mate Dave in his garage, sorry, and they're a bit of a chit chat. And they're going to bring some more boys in tomorrow, because now is the time to do it. Now's the time to strike. We'll look attractive to new players coming in. We've just beaten Wycombe. Number 2 is in within our sights. We've got a game in hand. We can go 1 point behind second. And we've got the games to come where obviously it's still in our own hands. Now's the time to put your money where your mouth is and bring in the strength and the recruitment we need to just take us to that next level, so we can dictate play a little bit more at home. Because you're right, guys, we are better away from home. Because away from home, everybody else we play have to come at us. Whereas when we're at home, they can sit back a little bit and we have to unlock them, and that's where we struggle. Unfortunately for Kev, they're the most expensive players to sign, so he's got a little bit of magic to pull out somewhere, because it ain't going to be cheap. But it has to happen soon, because if we wait a little bit long, it might be too late. We're in the right position now to strike, and I just hope we do. Because tell you what, I don't want to be sitting here in May thinking, we could have got it right in January. I wish we'd have over-delivered this year instead of last year, and been in a better position for it.
Let's talk about it, lads. This is what everyone's been waiting for. This is a fun bit. We talk about transfer window, though, because the usual rumours circulating about Joe Taylor in it. Gaz, obviously we need a striker. I mean, anyone can see that. Do we need 2 strikers? Do we need more, mate? I mean, we've got Ruskin in, who probably one of the worst debuts I've ever seen in my life, who's red carded after 7 minutes or so. Unbelievable. It's just 3 games. It's classic Town. I love it. But bit of pace down that side. It could be handy. Gaz, what players would you like us to bring in, mate? What positions? Obviously a striker, but what else do we need?
Well, obviously, we need at least a couple of quality strikers. I'm still waiting for Kev to get me excited. He promised to make me boxers twitch like yours do, Nick, and to press. A left wing back I've never heard of who got sent off after 10 minutes. He's not really doing it for me at the minute. We've had people go out the door, and we were debating this on the group chat before the game. And yeah, all right, those that have gone out were probably never going to make a big difference to our first team. But when we talked about doing our business early, I didn't realise it was getting rid of fringe players that we were going to do early. I thought we might have brought something in. And I'm with you, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And these games against the bottom 3, the people in the bottom 10, they only come. They don't come every week. And if we don't start taking advantage, we're going to be in trouble. I think fortunately Bulk is back, so I think centre half's okay. I think if Elliott goes, possibly another centre half, but I'm not desperate. If I was in charge, I'd be getting Karoma to sign another contract. That's what I'd be doing. We couldn't wait to give Kasuma a contract after he played 8 decent games in 3 fucking years. Yet Karoma's been probably our best goal scorer in the last 2 seasons. Yet we don't seem keen to sign him. Now, maybe we've offered him a contract, it's not enough money, or somebody else is tapping him up, or whatever it is. But that wouldn't negate the need for more attacking strength for me. You keep Karoma till the end of the season, or you make sure you tie him down and then bring a couple of strikers in. And beyond that, maybe right wing back. I don't really know what much. I don't think we need much more. Do you?
No, I think striker's obviously massive. To me, the problem is it's just these bloody injuries, isn't it? Yeah, Jed Robinson Taylor's hardly kicked a ball in anger. One of the add-ons. I mean, look, at least he has proven goal scoring record in this league. I will say that.
So did Freddie Ladapo.
Well, yeah, but they're both at different stages of the career, though, guys.
But there's a lot of people putting a lot of store in a young lad who's played half a season at Lincoln.
Well,
guys, what I was going to doing him dirty. No, the guys, that's doing him dirty. That is doing him dirty, right? Because Ladapo at Charlton and we're awful. You can't. No, man. I'm all for controversy. I'm all for.
We're putting a lot of store.
Too far on this podcast.
We'll put a lot of store in a young lad who's had half a season at Lincoln and scored some goals. We are. And what if he comes in and it takes him 6, 8, 10, 12 games to settle like it did Marshall?
Well, we won't be missing out, Gaz, because no one else is scoring.
I was just going to say that. The bar's that low, Gaz. Barring breaking his leg in the first 2 weeks, it can't really go worse because they're not the forwards we've got out scoring. So, by all accounts, Taylor is an handful, works really hard, similar mold to Alfie May in that regard. Obviously, we're looking for that type of player. That alone brings more than what Ladapo brings, because Ladapo's at the latter stages of his career. For me, his legs have gone a little bit. Now, it's not his fault, and I don't want to lean too much to him, but I think it's different. It's completely different, I think. Sometimes it don't work out at a club. I don't think he's been given a fair opportunity at Luton. I think he showed he can score goals at Lincoln. He's got good energy. He'll run all day long. And that alone can, maybe even if he frees up space for other people to get more goals, it's worth it. And I think if we bring 2 in, strikers, maybe it takes that pressure off him a little bit. I mean, Michael Duff in his interview Radio Leeds, I remember him saying the list of maybe a few permanence and a few loans, which suggests to me that more than one player's due to come in at some point, ideally. So for me, I'd like to think 2 strikers and maybe another right wing back for me, because Sorensen, I mean, again, bloke was never injured before he came here, and he's been injured. You couldn't write it, could you? And I know we make him work really hard down the flanks, and maybe that contributed to it a little bit. I don't know, but a bit more cover down there with a bit more pace won't go amiss. But then again, Turton's doing all right. But yeah, I don't think we need a lot. It's just the finishing. We create so many chances. We just need those finishes, and then I think we'll be all right.
If you bring Taylor in, Nick, then Tris, what would you want the other striker to be? Because I know we were chatting about this the other day.
Yeah,
go on. No, go on. I was just going to say that we were wildly linked with Ashley Barnes out of nowhere, who's ended up at Burnley. But that's the kind of loan signing or a real short-term deal to the end of the season where they're going to have to pay some really big wages, but somebody that could absolutely, and they'll probably only score 4 goals, but they'll make so many others and create so many other opportunities for us. When you look at talking to Luton, somebody like Carlton Morris, I know we're not going to hate Carlton Morris, but a Carlton Morris or somebody for these kids to play off.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same. What type of striker do we think we need? Probably someone who can, hold the ball up a little bit. But then I don't think we've got any pace anywhere at the minute. Miller and Sorensen were the ones that kind of brought a bit of pace. I don't think anybody else really brings that kind of pace, and so I just wonder whether having someone who can stretch a defence. That said, there's a lot of pitches in this league that are, we went down to Cambridge. They're quite compact. The stands are on top of you. Do you stretch a defence much in this league? I'm not sure you do. So yeah, I'd probably lean towards a bigger Ashley Barnes. Would have been perfect, wouldn't he? He's a bit of a shithouser, isn't he? He's a bit of a thug on the side. He gets away with it. He throws arms in here and there, a bit like that Sonny Bradley tonight as a centre back. Barnes would have dealt with him. He'd have properly dealt with him. He wouldn't have been laying on the floor in the first minute. Probably Sonny Bradley would have been laid on the floor in the first minute. So, and if he wasn't, he'd have been laid on the floor at some other point. So I think probably someone like of that ilk would be good. And I appreciate there aren't many of them about. And I keep trying to say this to people, that there aren't a lot of strikers. With football going down the route of what it has, lone strikers, inverted forwards, there aren't many real kind of target men or kind of lone strikers out there, is there, these days? So, I think we might be a bit hard to find, but we have come up against a few lads recently. Was he called something like Undulu from Cambridge, I think? I thought he played all right. Yep. There was another lad that we played at home. I can't remember who it was.
There were Lehman
at Charlton.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there probably is, maybe not quite with the shithousery of Barnes, but someone who can just hold a ball up and do that side of things would, probably be worthwhile for us.
Just somebody who hassles, just somebody who makes it hard for their centre backs, because I don't think we have anybody that does that. Marshall runs a lot, he does, but he's a bit of a lightweight kind of striker, isn't he? He's a bit of a pest, but you swat him off. He's not that bothered. He
hassles in a different way, doesn't he?
Well, that's it. And I'm expecting Taylor to be quite similar to that, maybe a little bit more meaty, but he's a similar kind of guy, right? And I think you need 2 of them, right? I think you need 4 strikers in a good team if you're playing 2 of them. You need 2 like that, and you need 2 beefcakes that are just a unit. Fletcher at Wrexham does it for... And look how many games they've won recently within the last few minutes. Just being a presence. And now we don't have that. Maybe we expected Ladapo to be that. He's not that. Radulovic will never, ever, ever be that. We have a lot of that other kind of striker, but none of the kind of striker you need in League One. we had John Rose, we had Lee Novak, and okay, Lee Novak wasn't big, but he was that guy. He was that kind of real hassle that just threw himself about a bit and took all the pressure off Rhodes because everyone wanted to beat him up because he threw himself in it. Just allowed Jordan Rose to do what he did. And now we kind of had that. We have that faster striker that does a little bit of work and scores maybe 10, 12. You just need a Barnes. We need somebody like that. And for me, we need two of them. One that starts and one that comes on in the last 30 minutes and you play whichever one's in form. So realistically, if you ask me what I really think we need, it's three strikers. You need Taylor in to play with Marshall as they're the swap there. And then you need two other big lads. And now this is an ideal list. Like when you're a kid and you tell your mum and dad what you want for Christmas and you might get one of them. I'm only expecting one of them, absolutely. But I just think we're missing that. But everything else is bang on. Everything else is perfect. I don't think we need any more centre-backs. I don't think we need any more wing-backs. I think we're fine in midfield. It's just that when we can pass around in the back because the other team is sitting deep, there's no battering ram. You need that battering ram. And I think you need a couple of them because with our form with injuries, we're going to win this season with over 30 different lads getting injured, I reckon, at this rate. Well, we're only halfway through. We've got 24 now after the injury we've had today. So we can't get to 48. That's probably impossible, the amount of players you can register. But we're a few strikers short, Kev. I just thought we pull someone out of somewhere because I don't think we can sign either any more foreigners because we have. I don't think Radulovic qualifies. I think you can have two in League One, can't you, without a permit? Or I don't know what the exact rules are, but I think you can have two. And now we've got Ruskins and we've got Bolker because I think Radulovic qualifies from being Spanish or playing here for Brighton for a few years when he was a youngster. So we can't go abroad to bring somebody else in on the cheap. We have to look at homegrown guys. But what I'd really like us to do is to go to League Two. And now Andy Cook's not available, unfortunately, for Bradford. It's really awful for everybody involved there.
One man FC.
How awful for him. And obviously he's 34, so he probably would fall under a multi-year contract deal with us, with the way we like to sign players. But I'd like us to go out and sign a striker that scored goals somewhere now. Not somebody who scored a goal a while ago or scored goals in bits and then got injured. To just go and sign a Naki Wells from the division below. To go and do that. I don't actually care who it is, but I just like that statement of intent to be made. Because we're a few strikers short. And we've gambled a few times and I just don't trust him to get it right because it's not worked up until now. And you're an idiot if you do the same thing over and over again. So change tact, go out, spend the money, bring somebody in that is scoring goals. Maybe it is at conference level. I don't know. I'm too busy with my own boys, coaching my own lads to know exactly what's going on in the conference. But there's got to be somebody somewhere who's scoring goals that falls into our financial budget that we can go out and get because that's the missing piece for me for this season.
If we don't, we might live to regret it. You know, when we got relegated, I've droned on and on and on about how League One is a graveyard for clubs like Huddersfield Town. If we don't go up this year, next year is going to be really difficult, and the year after, then the financial rules change for us. So really going to be knackered then, aren't we? So this is it. You know, this absolutely is it, and we don't want the lottery of the playoffs either. So you know, with Duff in the seat, the right recruitment here, we'll see. I genuinely think we'll see us promoted if we get the recruitment right. My worry is you know that we've already been told by Kev in December. It's all been done. Everything's lined up. You're all going to be excited. And here we are a week in with 3 weeks to go. And all we've got is as I say, he's a left wing back. So he needs to get his finger out. Bringing him in on the 31st of Jan's no good.
I think you're right, Killer. You know, if you look at Wrexham, they've that Ollie Palmer as well as Fletcher. Birmingham have Jukovic and Lyndon Dykes. You know, so you know, do you go and get someone like, I don't know, Jayden Stockley or someone like that? I think he's at Vale a few years ago. He scored goals at Exeter, but he were also a handful. You know, he's a big lad. People like him. I don't think there's probably loads out there, but I think there's no harm in trying someone like that, is there?
Well, you can look at Wycombe. They went and got Coney from Sussex. Like you can find guys somewhere. But like you say, Birmingham are a perfect example there, Tristan, in that they brought in Stansfield, they brought in May on deals that were absolutely ridiculous, right? And they still went out and brought in Lyndon Dykes because you still need that guy, even when you have the other guys that score. And we don't even have any of them. We don't have one. And somehow Michael Duff's got this team doing all right. Honestly, it is like you say, guys, a minor miracle that I think we're doing as well as we are doing, considering to most others we don't have an out-and-out striker at the club that scores goals. Danny Ward did okay. I thought he was the best, head and shoulders above everybody else we had in that role. But we're really, really light, and we've got to go out and do it.
Steve says low from Walsall. Stephen Shepherd said he turned us down. I mean, if he's turned us down to play for Walsall, I think there's something wrong. I think more likely Stoke probably wanted to keep hold of him and has kept him loaned out. 14 goals in 21 appearances, only 19. But again, it's a kid, isn't it? It's a risk again. Mark Harrison says Jay Rodriguez. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was somebody like that to come at latter stages. But then I guess you've got to look at wages for players like that. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. Be interesting to see what we're. If we hadn't fulfilled our quota, I would have said we'd go for someone from abroad, a big striker from abroad, and then maybe Taylor. I don't know, but from Duff saying about loans, potentially we're looking at a loan from a Premier League side or Championship side, maybe. So it'd be interesting. One thing that does annoy me is when Kev comes out saying, "Oh, fans are going to be really excited," and this, that, and the other, because there's no need to say that. Like, I know you want to be positive, and I like the way he engages sometimes, but why even bother saying it? Just say we're going to do our best to get the deals in that we need to get. We're going to work hard and leave it at that. But by saying that immediately, you've created this idea in people's heads of what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, because nothing's certain in transfer window, is it? If it doesn't happen, you get situations like this where we're 7 days in and there's meltdown on Twitter because no one's coming, you know, and people are slagging off, he's biting back, and it's all a bit circus. And we're only a week into the bloody window. What's it going to be like in 3 weeks in, like in last week at window, if we've only brought one player in? I think sometimes, although I really like him, I think sometimes he makes things so difficult for himself. I think he makes a rub for his own back in the way he communicates things. I think he should stop biting back at people on X, and just quietly get on with the job and let the actions do the talking.
I love him. I absolutely love him. Do you know what? Next time someone annoys me, I'm going to say they've got a low IQ. That's all I'm going to chuck at him. It's all right. Ignore him. He's got a low IQ. That's Kev's go-to. It's his absolute go-to. And I absolutely love it, honestly. That's made my Christmas more than win tonight, spotting that with Kev. Top bloke.
I want him to communicate. Like, don't get me wrong. It's great. There's that outlet there. But I just think it just looks from the outside. It's a bit cringe for me when I see it. Like, I just think, just get on with job. And that'll shut them up. Like, you get the right players in, you get the strikers in, everyone shuts up, everyone's happy out there until they don't score after 3 games. Then everyone's moaning again, saying Cartwright out. We'll see. There's a lot of pressure on Cartwright, though. You know, I will say if this window don't go right, don't know.
Kev says he's been doing some excellent work.
Doing what?
Selling our fringe players by the look of it.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've offloaded a couple that were never going to play for us, have we? Kieran Harrett's gone to Fleetwood, and Kieran Phillips, who it never really worked out for, unfortunately, has gone to Ross County. I mean, that's some change in it, going from Sacramento to bloody Ross County. Poor sod. It's a bit an eye opener.
He needs a new agent, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. But you know, that's hopefully freed up a bit of money wage-wise. So we'll see what we can do, lads. But finally, let's move on then. Let's move on to Saturday and Shrewsbury away. I mean, I said this before Burton, but we've got to get a result. I mean, this is typical Town, though, isn't it? We beat Wycombe and lose to third bottom. This would be classic. And this has always been my criticism, that I'm with you, Ian. I think, you know, we're a good squad. But do we have the mentality? Do we have the mentality to get those last-minute goals to win games? I don't think we do at the moment, you know, in some of these where it's draws. I think if you're a Wrexham and a Birmingham, you get at least 4 points out of those Burton and Rotherham games. And I think that's the difference at the moment. But I think we've got to go there and get a result, lads, haven't we? Surely.
I hope so. keeping him.
You don't all sound confident. You're not saying, yeah, of course we can.
I'm keeping
It's
my
just
mouth
silence.
shut. I predicted us to smash Northampton earlier in the season 3-0, and it was the opposite. So I hope we can just go and give us good performances as we've given in recent games away from home. And I think they'll try and make it a very different game to tonight. They'll probably, with the weather conditions and probably the pitch will cut up, and I think it'll be a bit of a slugfest. But I think as we've alluded to tonight, Duff's got them, being able to slug out matches like that. And so, I hope we can go and give a good account of ourselves again, and see where we go from there.
Well, I'm just looking at games at the weekend and looking at this. Neither Wrexham nor Wycombe are playing. I don't know whether their opponents are in FA Cup or something still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's an incentive, there's an incentive. That means we'll use our game in hand on them too. If we win, we're going to be a point behind them both, breathing down their necks.
Yeah.
What an incentive to go and win. So you go and win away, and it may well be another ugly game. The conditions won't be great, will they? It's a long journey. There'll be a good turnout from town fans, no doubt. And Shrewsbury are under some pressure. They won't want to be playing deep at home, trying to nick a point, will they? They're under pressure. They're going to want to try and win games. So it's perfectly set up for us to win, which means we'll lose 2-0.
The thing is, what it does though, if we do win, we were 6-7 points behind very quickly, weren't we, from second place? We've won tonight. We win on Saturday. Down. We've got it back, and now it's okay. You say 6 points. We're only going to make 6 points up. That doesn't sound very much when it's relegation. If you win 2, because teams around there don't win many games, so you can kind of make it up quickly. When you're chasing people down at the top of the division, 6 points is a marathon amount. And we could catch this up in 2 games. We have to win. We have to win on Saturday. Again, I hate saying it. It sounds quite extreme, doesn't it? 23, 24 games into the season saying, oh, we have to beat Wycombe away. Oh, we have to beat Shrewsbury away. But we really do. We've done the hard work tonight to get us back in contention. We have an easy game on paper on Saturday to get back level. And now we might not get this chance again if we slip up on Saturday. So we have to take it. We've got to make the most of it. And like I say, with Duff and the way he's got this team played, I think we will. I don't think we will slip up. And it's rare that I'm as positive as this, boys. We've been here for many years talking about Town, and most of the seasons haven't gone too well. And positivity from me isn't always overflowing, but it is tonight, and I think we'll do all right on Saturday. I think the character that somehow Duff's turned around in 6 months with the majority of the same players is phenomenal. And I think it'll do as well on Saturday and take us back into contention for the top 2.
Do you know? And I probably have underappreciated this tonight. And I know Cam kept saying it on commentary. They scored 50 goals this season, Wycombe. Two goals again, and we've nilled them at home. It's pretty impressive, that, isn't it? Pretty impressive, and if you can take that forward for the rest of the season, as we've alluded to, we shouldn't fear anyone, should we?
We've had 25 injuries. We've got at least 11, 12 players out at the moment. We've had horrific refereeing decisions. We've got hardly any strike force, and given all that, we're 9 points clear in playoffs, potentially breathing down the neck of the top 2. Given all that. So surely luck's got to improve second half of the season. We get some additions in, we could be right up there. I think we go and win now. Well, I hope so, because I'll be very depressed. If we don't, I'll be really pissed off after tonight. I hope it's not a false dawn, but surely. I mean, they're not in terrible form. Having said that, I'm just looking now at the form, and they've only lost 2 out of the last 6 games. They draw quite a lot. It's not as easy as it looks, but I'm sorry, a team that's third bottom on 17 points, we have to, if we have any ambitions of the top 2, we have to go there and win. Guys, we've nearly done an hour and a half there of pure positivity. I mean, it's so unlike us. It's brilliant. And we've had lots of interaction from you guys, which has been fantastic. If you please, if you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe, because it really helps us in terms of sponsorship and what we want to do with the pod. Gaz, I'm gonna plug this shirt. Have you any knowledge of when this shirt's from? Still, no. We have a signed shirt. We have a signed Huddersfield Town football shirt.
I've been away. I haven't had time.
Oh, here he goes again. Look at him. Oh, I've been. Sorry, guys. I've been in New York. I don't have time. Don't have time to deal with the Ponce shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, Gaz.
But Gaz has kindly donated a signed Town shirt from what we think is
03 or 4, I think. We'll get some
season,
more pictures and put some more pictures up online.
Yeah.
We really need to push it, don't we?
Yeah, and when we get to 1,000 subscriptions, so maybe in 4 years or whatever,
it'll be vintage back.
The winner will the winner will pick a person at random, and they'll receive said shirt. So yeah, please, if you could subscribe on YouTube, that'd be helping us out massively. I will plug Andy Kay's pod on Still Smiling, because I gave it a listen today. It was really good. Podcast by Brady and Tom Bradshaw. Andy, he went into all his background as a Town fan with his son following Town, and it was really, really good. So it's nice to see it's nice to support fellow pods. So give it a listen. But for every one listen to there, give us 2 listens. Just to make sure numbers wise. But we are the most listened Town podcasts out there. I'll just slip that in. Right, lads. We've done nearly an hour and a half, so I think that's about it. We've discussed a lot there. It's all positive. Look, let's go down there and get the win. Let's really breathe down the necks of Wrexham and Wycombe and see what they're about. Because I think there's Wycombe are stuttering. Wrexham, as you say, Gaz, have they got the squad depth? This is the moment now when you get the games one after the other. It's relentless. I think there's potential for them to slip up. So let's take advantage and let's get back in that top 2, hopefully. Guys, Tristan, Gaz, Killer, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for listening. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, we'll be back after the Shrewsbury game, hopefully with another 3 points. See you soon up the Town.